Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. Before we begin today's story, I'd like to ask, are you subscribed yet? Because if you're not and you do enjoy my stories and you want to see more of them, then just go ahead and click that subscribe button. It's gonna help my videos be in your feed. Now, let's get started with today's first story. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user Photomate2019. My girlfriend is caught cheating, but I'm turning the tables before she blames me. My male 29 girlfriend, 28 female, and I have been together for over 5 years. We do not live together. She lives with her best friend, female 28, in an apartment. I am on my own in an apartment. We have been absolutely serious for 5 years. I love this woman with all my heart. We don't have much, break even most of the time. I have always had a passion for photography, started as a hobby and is now branching out to weddings and events. A couple of years ago, I decided that this is what I wanted to do with my life. She was very supportive. I purchased the equipment I needed to get into this business and I acquired some debt because of this. I work for a small manufacturer. We make mostly trash bags and a few other things. The owner is a friend of the family. I started out of high school. My dad said my boss always makes money in spite of himself. It always turns out good for him. We have a contract with a larger retailer to make bags with their name on them. Private label, they call it. We don't make all their bags. Another manufacturer makes the same bag. We split the business in case something happens to one company and the other company picks up the slack and keeps the goods flowing. Well, that is what happened. The other company had issues and could not provide the product. The retailer asked us to produce more and we went to a second shift. The boss asked if I could work this shift with a couple of others to watch over the temp workers being hired. It should be just a couple of weeks. I would work from 6 p.m. until 3 a.m. and I usually work from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. I had an agreement with the owner that I did not work Friday and Saturday because of my photo business. I have progressed enough that I shoot weddings almost every weekend and some rehearsal dinners. So my group works Sunday night through Thursday night. This put a real strain on my time with my girlfriend. We only saw each other on weekends, and she would sometimes be my assistant at weddings. We tried to do things on Sunday, but it was hard. I was usually beaten. And she actually said she enjoyed it because at the beginning, most of my business came from family and friends. She knew many of the newlyweds. She enjoyed getting dressed up every weekend. On the weddings that were friends after the bride and groom left, our business was almost complete. Usually, after the parents left the reception, we were done. We always checked first, but we would kick back with our friends then and enjoy the reception too. I kept checking in with my girlfriend to see if she was okay with the separation. She always said she was. I asked several times a week. We talked every day, sometimes several times, lots of texts. She knew I was paying down my debt. I put everything I make back into the business. I do not like to owe anything. The month turned into 6 weeks. So yesterday I went to work. The owner is there. He says we are done with the contract. The crew on Saturday finished up. He wanted the temps to finish out Sunday because he could not get a hold of many to tell them not to come in. He knew that I had been busting my butt for him, so he sent me home at about 9 p.m. The rest of the crew was going to do some cleanup and maintenance. So I thought I would surprise my girlfriend. I go to her apartment. In the parking lot, I text her, "What are you doing?" And she replies, "Oh, just watching TV." I asked if she wanted to talk on the phone. No, she was too tired, going to bed soon and not feeling well. My whole idea was to then walk up to the door and surprise her. Well, that was a shot. So I said goodnight and started to drive away. Her apartment has reserved parking for residents, and her car was not in her spot. Odd. I started heading home and decided to treat myself to an ice cream from this one place that has the best stuff. I found a place to park. It is really crowded because it has been hot. As I walk up to the crowd, I see my girlfriend and roommate in line way up front. Then 2 guys joined them. One guy kind of pokes my girlfriend in the ribs from behind, kind of scaring her. She jumps and starts pushing him, laughing. He stands behind her and hugs her. She just looks back over her shoulder at him. At this point, I am like, what the F? I get out of line and go back to my car. I drive home, get my camera and come back. I am now across the street taking pictures of them. He is hugging her. I have one picture with his hand on her ass. After a few shots, I head home again. My neighbor, who is probably my best friend by now, hears me come in and is instantly at my door. I told him what I saw. Now, my friend loves my girlfriend. We hung out all the time before this job thing came up. He will catch me off guard by asking in a teasing way, "If something happens with the two of you, mind if I take a run at her?" He says this in the most deadpan way. It just cracks me up, but I know he doesn't mean it. Anyway, I say I am done. We talk a bit and then he says, "You know, most of her friends were yours first. She will try to turn them on you. Then you will have no one." After discussing this and having a couple of beers, I decided to be proactive. I go onto Facebook and start posting pictures of my girlfriend and me. I tell a narrative of how much I love her, we were meant to be, etc. I start to trickle post these love notes and pictures every few minutes. I am getting likes and comments from all our friends. This inspires me to post some very private and intimate pictures. No, not nudes, but close-ups of her put in a beautiful light. I posted one very close up of her face and there was a butterfly in front of her nose. Other pictures that she didn't even know I had. Now the comments are flying in. I started saying how I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. I can't wait for our vacation in a couple of weeks. I said I had a surprise for her. She is now texting and calling, asking me to stop posting. She doesn't say anything on Facebook. People are asking what kind of surprise? And I posted a picture of a wedding ring from a recent wedding I shot. All kinds of awes now. It is now almost midnight as I trickle this stuff out. Then I posted that I was confused. If we had so much going on, why are you doing this? I posted a picture of this guy hugging her. A little later, I post one with his hands on her ass. Now I am getting phone calls from friends. I don't answer any. She is texting me and her best friend is texting me to stop. There is banging on my door. I'm at my friend's place next door. It's my girlfriend. My friend sticks his head out the door and tells her I'm not home. She is livid. She is crying. She asked where I was and he says he thinks I went to my folks' place. So, today I posted a picture of her crap stacked in the hall outside my apartment with a note that the rats are scurrying, better hurry to get your stuff. I would say this anytime someone was loud walking down the hallway. My friends are not saying very many nice things right now about her. I think I will keep my friends. Why do people act this way when they are not happy in a relationship? I asked multiple times if she was good. I kept reassuring her that this was coming to an end. Then to lie to me? Why couldn't she wait? Well, OP, because some people are simply selfish douchebags like your ex-girlfriend. Maybe she had needs that weren't being met and having been with you for 5 years, she didn't want to ruin that? I don't know. Honestly, I cannot explain the mind of a cheater. All I know is that cheaters suck and your girlfriend deserves the exposure. I'm sorry, might be cruel, but you know what? She cheated. She doesn't get sympathy from me. And also, OP, I have to say, kudos on getting ahead of the narrative. There's nothing she can do now to try to turn the tables on you or anything. Like you said, you are keeping all your friends. So that's a really good thing you did. And let's face it, it's not like you're posting any intimate pictures of her and some other guy. You just told a story and at the end, you exposed her like the cheater she is, without being indecorous or anything. It was just a picture of a guy hugging her and then him having his hands on her butt. Anyways, what do you think about how OP handled this situation? Would you do something similar or would you handle it some other way? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what the community had to say about this. Cole Morris 1982 says, I was in a very similar situation. Got cheated on 3 months before my wedding to a woman I was madly in love with for 5 years. In the end, what got me through it, and the best thing for you to remember when you are feeling sad about it, is this. She lost someone who loved her and would do anything for her, and you lost a cheater who didn't deserve you. I'd say you came out on top. Twinkish Scorp 1102 says, I love that you did this. Other people here may try to shame you and tell you to be the bigger person because of sweet karma and moral superiority, but don't buy into them. This is amazing. She got what she deserved. And OP responds, my friend was right about her maybe trying to say I was abusive or inattentive or any other excuse that you see in this sub when there's a breakup. I am not losing my friends that will help me through this. I've had many phone calls and texts and visits all in support today. She can have her best friend that helped her cheat. Cajun Voodoo says, a cheater is the lowest slum of the earth. They don't have the capacity to not be selfish and break it off and instead want themselves to be happy and watch the other person suffer. Unfortunately, the world is full of floozies like that. There are a few good ones out there, man. Promise, you just have to go through the weeds to find the beautiful flowers. My grandmother's always told me, you gotta kiss a few frogs to find your prince. I know it's corny as F, but hey, she was right. Still haven't found my prince yet. Hoping I do, but I'm not gonna spend my entire life trying. And Deleted says, kind of a douchey move, but I can't say I blame you. Don't relish too much though. Get out there and find someone better. Alright, well, we got different takes from the community. Some people saying that what OP was awesome and one person saying it was a douchey move. There were more comments like that, but I didn't want to go through them all. In any case, as you know, my stories come with an update, which means that this story hasn't ended yet. So let's move on to the update to see what happens next. But before that, if you're liking this video, how about you click that like button because it does help me out, or maybe write a comment about what you think on the story. Now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Thank you for your kind support. This whole thing got out of hand. I never responded to questions or posted again on Facebook after the initial posts. That kind of backfired on me as friends were asking questions on Facebook and then calling and texting and some even dropping by the apartment. The original thought was to let the pictures do the talking. Then, my Facebook for my photography business in my name was under assault from well-wishers and those who wanted to know more, so I shut it all down. That has turned the spigot not all the way off, but to a trickle now. I did not know I knew so many people. Now, you kind people asked for an update, so here it goes. I went no contact with my now ex as far as text and phone. I hid out next door the last 2 nights. I then blocked her and her best friend on Facebook so they could not post anything on my page. This was yesterday. Her best friend picked up her stuff. There really wasn't a lot. I was waiting for her to say that she didn't get her 70-inch TV back or some made up crap like that, but it did not happen. Then, when I got home tonight, she was in the parking lot waiting for me alone. We sat in my car and talked. She wanted to go inside, but I said no. She apologized for being stupid. This whole thing started about a few weeks ago when the 30 days should have been up. I had called her about extending it a while longer. Even though she said she was okay, she was really depressed because we had not been doing things together except for the wedding shoots. Her friend suggested that she tag along with her and her boyfriend, and she did, and that's when she met her boyfriend's friend. Now, I would be okay with just hanging out, but then it turned into dating. I told her that they must have been out on dates quite a few times if he thought he could hug her and rub her ass. It took me several dates before I did anything like that, and she admitted that they have been out a lot. I did not ask if they slept together, it does not matter. She asked about why I went about the way I did on Facebook, and I told her I had seen where things get turned around, and the poor guy that gets cheated on loses all of his friends, and the cheater just goes about their life. It was not happening to me. She asked about the pictures I posted. She had not seen some and did not know when I took them. I told her I had a few hundred of her. I take a camera in most places. Never know when a good shot will come up. I sell pictures to magazines and other places to make a few bucks here and there. She asked about the vacation we were planning. I told her I was absolutely going. We were going to be near the ocean. The place is already paid for and she is not going. I am going by myself. My friend said he could go with me, but he can only get away for just a couple of days though. And then it would be 2 cars, etc. We are trying to find a couple more guys and have a guys' weekend. They can flop on the floor if need be, but I really just want to be alone. She then asked about the wedding band and if I was really going to propose. I told her no, but that I thought that we should maybe start talking more seriously about it. The whole time we were talking, tears were flowing from both. In my case, it was because I was ending something with someone I deeply loved. I don't know about her. She then asked if there was any way to salvage this. I said no, and she left shortly afterward. She did ask me to unblock her so she could still follow me. I said maybe in the future, but not now. People are calling it revenge, but all I did was protect my name. Thank you all again for the support. Oh, and to the, I am assuming, young lady who DM'd me wanted to be my new beautiful assistant? Not now, but I will keep your username close by, lol. Oh wow, OP, I have to say, you've dealt with this in such a mature and positive way. I mean, considering all the crap that you've gone through and considering you are very sad right now, you didn't fall back to any patterns, you didn't give it another chance, you didn't let her gaslight you or anything like that. You just had that final conversation because she basically stalked you to get it, and then you were done. So now it's time to move on. Thank you so much for sharing, OP. Take care and I hope you have fun on that trip with your friends. Now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance and it's by user SquaredGuard830. Drop everything and help you out? Sure, I got you. I want to start this post by saying, yes, I know I should have gotten fired for this and I do not recommend doing this in any service industry job. This happened several years ago while I was working as a waitress at a chain restaurant. There was this insane manager whom I had to work with on several occasions. She was young and thought she knew everything, was quite trashy and was sleeping with one of the higher-ups, who was married, whose wife was also working at the same restaurant, but that's a different story. This manager, let's call her Mandy, was always on my ass about everything. I was one of the few shift lead servers who knew what they were doing, knew how to make the restaurant money, and had many customers write great reviews and say wonderful things about me. I knew how to do my job and I knew how to do it well. Mindy always singled me out for things when things weren't even my fault. I would always just take it because it wasn't worth my energy fighting about it. She was the only person in the whole restaurant that I did not get along with. I had a great rapport with the bartenders, servers, cooks, back of house staff, and other managers. One day, I came in to start my shift, but was quickly pulled into the manager's office by a different manager. He wanted to bring it to my attention that Mindy had stated on my past shift that I was on my phone and not working hard. This was not true. I never carried my phone on me because it was a distraction. I didn't have room in my apron and my jeans did not have pockets, and honestly, I didn't want to have it on me. I mentioned this to the manager and he gave me the benefit of the doubt, but said he was going to keep an eye on me, as cell phone use had been becoming a major problem with several of the servers and bartenders in the past few months. One shift a few days after that was busy, I had a full section and was sat with a party of 12 who all ordered beverages from the bar with water. I grab a tray, fill up the water and hand the glassware to the service bar in the kitchen area. Once all the drinks were on the tray, I slowly started to lift it to get it situated, as it was heavy. Mindy decided this was the best time to yell at me and tell me she needed me to run the food that was up at the expo line, where she was standing and expediting the food. I took a second to look over at two other servers who were leaning against the wall, much closer to her, on their phones. I said, "I'm a little busy, can someone else help?" And she snapped back at me and said, "I told you to do it, so you need to do it now." At that moment, I honestly didn't even care anymore. So I looked at her deadpan in the eyes, smiled, said, "Okay," and literally dropped the tray of drinks I was holding on the ground, walked over the broken glass, crushing the cups under my feet, grabbed the plates of food and asked her where they were going while keeping the smile on. The look of horror on her face, the phone-dwelling servers' faces, and the cooks' faces were quite priceless. Once I delivered the food, I went to my party of 12 and apologized to them and told them I dropped the tray of their drinks and I'd be right back with a new one. Still with that smile on my face. Once my shift was over, Mindy pulled me into the office and explained that what I did was not okay and she was going to write me up for it. So I had to sign a document stating I understood why I was being written up and I refused to sign it before speaking with other management. There was much more discussed in this conversation, but I can narrow it all down. She said I would be fired if I didn't sign the write-up document at the exact moment. I still refused and said I would speak with the GM about it tomorrow morning on my next shift. The next morning, I explained to the GM what had happened and stated that I was working while others were on their phones, but Mindy singled me out. I also asked him to check the cameras to see the incident take place, and might I say, it was so satisfying to see myself drop everything physically. After lots of discussion, the GM said there's no problem here, ripped up the write-up and told me to continue being the hard worker I am. And I never had to work with Mindy again. The end. Wow, OP, I've got to say, this is one of the gutsiest malicious compliance I've read so far. Good for you. Sucks to lose those strengths though, but still good for you. Thank you for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.